All right, here we go. Double episode today for us, but we're going to jump in a whole new topic, and that is tip culture. How many different directions can we get this? I think, Dave is a restaurant owner here in San Francisco and a lifelong career restaurateur in probably every position in the restaurant. Why don't you get us started?
Pretty much, yeah. What's up, Pete? Welcome back. Let's talk about tip culture. It's kind of, who are we tipping these days? Are we, we used to tip our servers, we used to tip our bartenders. Now we're tipping our baristas, we're tipping our sandwich shop, Subway sandwich people, we're tipping, obviously you'll talk about tattoo artists. We're tipping our hairdressers, which was always natural. Our pet groomers, are we tipping our people who bag our groceries at the grocery store? Are we tipping our doctors yet? I don't think so. Not yet, right? Good.
What's the tip amount?
Yeah,
now they don't even show 15%. It starts at 20% and then goes up and then makes you go into a custom screen if you want to insult the person watching you take the money.
Well, this whole thing, I think, I don't know when it started, but, obviously tipping servers and bartenders and a few other industries, cab drivers, people handling your bags at hotels, those have always been around. But I think now, before you used to go into like a corner store market and you just buy what you buy. Now every place either has a tip jar, or some places have it. So when you have to load up your card, it asks you if you want a tip, and it starts 20%. Some start at 22%.
So is this like another tax we pay, that we just agree to pay each other more tips because we know life sucks and it's expensive right now, and our government, I guess, and economy is failing, so now we just expect each other to tip each other as a way to...
Or is it a way to keep the prices of everything down? A lot of people, what I hear a lot is, online maybe, well, the restaurant owner should just pay the person more, or not even say restaurant owner, let's just say whatever it is, should pay the people a decent wage so they, so they don't have to rely on the tips as much. And I do pay my people well. The only people I pay minimum wage are the servers and bartenders because they are tipped. And let's not get it wrong.
In San Francisco, the minimum age is $19 now, right?
1918.
Like it's pretty good bad in San Francisco comparatively to other places.
And again, I don't want to say we shouldn't tip those because you're tipping for service. You're in a minute I'm going to talk about Europe and different cultures, but I did want to touch on the fact really quickly that again, 1918 is a decent minimum wage. When I left Boston in 2001 or 2002, it was $2.63 an hour, I think, for servers. And you didn't get it. You didn't get I think it's up to 5 or 6 now, maybe more. I don't know. Somebody from the East Coast that's still working in that industry can leave a comment. But when I moved to LA, I was bartending and I was like, whoa, I'm getting $5.50 an hour and tips? Cool. And I moved up a year later to San Francisco, and I was like, I'm getting $8 an hour plus, I think it was $8.55 plus tips. This is great. And that was only 20 years ago. And now from $8, now we're at 19. So we've minimum wage has gone up. Now I'll say that with the fact that I don't think that minimum wage has gone up at the same rate as everything else has gone up. So, I would love to pay my servers $40 an hour. But if I did that, your burger would cost $50 an hour. I mean, 50 bucks.
Your burger would be, I eat quick.
Your burger
I like burgers.
It doesn't take me an hour. Can we make that 25?
Nowadays, I don't even get the bun. I just get the burger and the cheese. And,
Yeah.
And
so there's a lot of costs that would increase if people were to do that. There's a lot of places that's a good way to segue.
Why do you think Europe doesn't need to tip, and we do need to tip? From just a mathematical and financial standpoint, you as a restaurant owner here are pay your employees what they allow you to pay, and then you tip on top of it, and that's how it all works. But why in Europe does it not take that?
So Europe is a little different, and
again,
you go to no. I mean, they don't make a lot of money. It's not like you make a ton more money. But what you do find is when you go to Europe, if you're dining, the quality of service is a lot slower. It's a lot. It's a lot less service oriented, unless you're going to like a really fine dining Michelin star place, then you get that. But just your average bistro, you're not going to get great service. Hopefully you don't get horrible service. But I think that's one of the things that people talk about that here. Hey, why don't we just go to a system like Europe where there's no tip, everything's included, it's in the menu, the restaurant owner pays a livable wage or whatever it is.
Then I don't want to do that because I get tips in my industry, and sometimes they're really good. Like, it makes my week when 7-8 people tip really well, or near the base amount, if you will.
Yeah.
Now that they're not going to tax those tips, it's interesting for us as a tattoo studio, but we're a pretty close knit with just father and son, so the tax.
It's interesting you bring up that about the tax, because it's not like they're not going to be taxed. You just will be able to get a credit. You'll be able to deduct. It's like an itemized deduction, right? You'll be able to deduct up to $25,000, I believe, off, which is great for people who know what they're doing with their taxes. If you're doing them yourself on TurboTax, you might mess that up pretty good. If you have somebody doing your taxes, you should be fine. Most people that are servers and bartenders don't have people doing their taxes for them. So it's interesting to see how that's going to be used. But the tips are still going to be taxed. The government's going to get their money from the tips. It's just that they're going to get a tax credit. It's kind of, I feel
for
that
those not taking cash tips and not reporting.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I started working in the restaurant business in
plenty of businesses that's the norm.
1988, I remember I started washing dishes, and it was just a few years prior to that they passed the laws that you have to report your tips as income. I remember waitresses and waiters still pissed off about it and ranting about it, and that was maybe 4 or 5 years after it started. And now it's there were times where there were times that I claimed what I had to claim. You have to claim technically 8% of your sales or whatever to not risk being audited, I guess. But most people don't claim what they did. And one of the reasons I took a management position was because we were going to buy a house, and I was like, whoa, I'm showing half of what I actually make on paper, and that's not going to get us too much as far as loans. So I took a management position, took a $10,000, $12,000 a year pay cut to be on the books as making X amount of money, so I could do that. I think that's one of the reasons people did and do like those type of jobs, because you don't always report everything, and it's there's something to be said for that.
So who decides who gets the tips? I think that was the point you were trying to make in the beginning, that we're starting to see it everywhere, cash registers, convenience stores. We don't need to list the whole list out again. but who gets to decide who gets it and who gets to be frustrated because we're being tipped everywhere? And now the new norm is 20, and I dare say it's 25, 30. You know, they stick three options in front of your face. So
Yeah, and
do
you
you feel
you got to be
overtipped
an
in
asshole
life?
to hit that custom and give them like
Give them something
10%
else,
or something
like,
less. Yeah, but
so
I'm not tipping 10%. I mean, I'm not tipping 20% on to go orders. I tip again. It's for the service. I'll give 25, 30% for good service at a sit when I'm dining, but I'm not going to give somebody 20, 25, 30% for boxing up my food, you know, for the cooks doing their job in cooking it. And now my
yeah,
cooks
I
get
made your
paid
profit
decent.
as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Required nothing but a bag.
Yeah. So where, where do you, who do you tip? How much do you tip each person? I mean, it's just getting, everybody wants a tip now. You know, you're a delivery driver. I get some, so I have some medicine that I get from a specialty pharmacy store that, you know, it's an online pharmacy. I shouldn't say specialty, but, and so I set it up and every month when I get medicine, it asks me, how much do you want to tip? And I do, I give them $5 every time for delivering the medicine, you know, but it's like, you know, you almost feel compelled, but again, that's something that I feel they should be, somebody should be paying more for.
I feel some like society has decided to tax us, another taxation. So when you think of how we're taxed on everything and how much money or how much of our income goes to taxes, then you drive your car around and you pay bridge tolls and you pay freaking, you know, this is just another one of those, like, oh, because it's cigarettes, of course it's taxed more. Like, and now I feel like we are. It's like everyone's wanting a tip, and some part of me is like, how much more can we afford? Like, I don't have all this extra money anymore.
Yeah.
Life has gotten very expensive here in the Bay Area. There's not even a point of arguing about it. That's just the way it is to wish to exist here, is to understand.
Is it like that in Florida? I mean, I know you guys have the studio and everything in Florida. When you go out there, is it the same? Or when you go to the grocery store, not grocery store, corner store, coffee shop, sandwich shop, whatever it is it the same? Because I don't travel the country as much as I used to.
There's a tip on everything
yeah.
in St. Pete. Like,
Everything,
yeah. I always hate when I don't know if I'm supposed to tip. And I guess the answer to that is, well, you're supposed to tip every time you even have that thought. Like, at which point did the hotel guy help me enough with my luggage that I'm supposed to give him money, whether he did a good job or not.
I mean, do I tip? Pete, there's a crossing guard at my daughter's school. Should I start tipping him? Should I start tipping him? I tip everybody else. I mean, he does a great job. He stops the cars, keeps us safe. That should warrant a tip, right? Where do we draw the line? Where does that end? I mean, we can agree. Servers, bartenders, hairdressers. I think service-oriented things.
One of the things to talk about tip culture is, like, in my, you know, I'm older at 55, like, bartending didn't used to be a career move. It didn't used to be, like, you couldn't make these close to six-figure jobs bartending from the tips. And nowadays, you know, bartending's a career choice. Being a server in some instances.
Yeah.
So that tells you there's difference in 3 decades. That's got to be a difference in tip culture and how much we're tipping and how much we're being paid.
Like I said, you bring up a good point about, like, being able to live on that. I do have, like, a lot of my servers and bartenders do have 2 jobs. That being said, with those 2 jobs, yeah, they make close to 6 figures. Some make 6 figures. And that, going back to, well, why doesn't the restaurant could just pay him more? My servers do make, you know, in tips, let's say one makes $60,000. If I broke that down into their hourly, because they work about between 4 and 5 hours a shift, they make, say, $250, $300 that day. That we're getting into $65, $70 an hour. If I had to pay somebody $65, $70 an hour, I either couldn't be in business or I would have to charge 3 times as much. And so...
Or feed 3 times as many people.
It's not even feed...
Which at some point you can only sell so much food.
Sure, but if I have to feed 3 or 4 times as many people, I have to have 3 or 4 times as many servers on just to feed that many people. So we're right back at the same point. I
don't think America's going to go back on tipping. I think a lot of us want to draw this line at like some of these novelty stores and just normal day over-the-counter transactions shouldn't have tipping mechanisms in when you're taking my money.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think it is too much too often. Having said that, people wonder if you should tip your tattoo artist, and should you be tipping them 20%, 25, 30%. Our rate for our sessions or our days is a big number to begin with.
Yeah.
And then, so it warrants the contemplation on, tipping me $300 on a couple $1,000s, and you want to tip 30% versus 15% versus 15%. It makes you think on that kind of product.
Yeah. But where do we get that? Do we, like, our mechanics? Do you tip your mechanic? Car mechanic? I don't.
I feel like I should. Like, car mechanic stuff is going really bad for me this last year or so. Maybe if I tipped them better.
It's karma,
my
right?
Engine wouldn't have
the
blown
karma
up.
tip. I tell you what, there's some, like, I do feel like, that karma bug. Like, if you don't tip them properly, something's going to happen, and it's just a
I wish it was a little bit more of a system of criticism or critique where we actually could give 5% or 10% to be saying, look, you weren't worth it. But I think it's either on or off. It's either you're telling the person to screw off totally, I'm not giving you any money, or you just give the amount you're peer pressured into giving for that given service.
It's interesting. You talk about shoving that thing in your face to, make somebody tip. We never had a handheld until recently. We just did everything at the POS system and then brought them the check. They'd sign it. We don't even have the suggested gratuity. I think it's tacky. I got the handhelds because so many of the servers were getting screwed by foreign guests who aren't accustomed to tipping. So at least they put that there, and people still hit custom 0 or no tip. It still happens, but less. And so ours doesn't start at 20. I think if I remember correctly, it's 18. 20, 22.
That feeling of not knowing, though, like when I was in Spain or when I was in Jakarta or when I was in Panama, like, am I supposed to tip? Am I not supposed to tip? Because in Spain, the tipping wasn't, you weren't supposed to. And then you feel like an idiot if you do. And just that not knowing whether you should or shouldn't sucks.
And they like the Europeans.
Always want to be rich enough to not have that feeling. Like, I just carry money around
and tip
everybody. Give everybody.
Like Frank Sinatra has a roll, and somebody else carried it, and you just say "duke them," and somebody would be handing out money. Yeah,
I need that roll.
Let's both get that rich, Pete.
Then I feel like cheap because now like $2-3 is an insult. You're supposed to be handing a $5 bill or a $10 bill. And I think I'm just too cheap.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been at the strip club. Is it up to $5 instead of dollars now?
I hope not.
Who knows? Yeah, but you got to tip them too, right? Everybody's getting tips.
Most people are smart enough to put that together. That
it's funny though, because like we just talked about that. I travel to Europe a lot, and again, you're not expected to tip, and I always do. It's small, it's 10% or something like that, but they like it, and they know that when they get seated in American, a lot of times they'll maybe try a little harder, and knowing that, oh my, this guy's probably going to give me something extra, and so it's starting over there to be a little bit, I wouldn't say expected, but
So you think tipping's taking over the world?
I don't think
spread
so.
its tip culture to the corners of the universe?
I don't think so, unless the economy does something weird over there where service industry people are getting far less than everybody else. And I think that's, again, why it started here, because, again, East Coast, when I grew up, it was $2.63 an hour, that's unlivable, and it was like, hey, here's a little extra for good service. But when you're getting minimum wage, and minimum wage is next year it'll be $20, and like you're getting $20 an hour. Now that doesn't go anywhere in San Francisco. That's still, you're going to be poverty.
Outside of St. Petersburg, I don't know, because that's where we did business, but it was not $20 an hour for
absolutely
minimum
not.
wage in Florida.
It's probably, I think and now here's the thing, you got the federal minimum wage, which I don't know, I think it actually went up to 15, or it was supposed to, or maybe it's 12. I don't know what it is, but there's another separate thing for tipped employees, where they get employers would get the tip credit, and so that's why they could pay them less. They just had to pay them with the amount that they're paying them plus the tips equal a minimum wage that's up to the federal minimum wage. But it's different. So you'd think like maybe you'd get less money out here because people are like, they're already making good money, but it's not. It's the same. It's standard. You got a standard 20% for good service.
You're supposed to tip like your carpenter or your plumber. Your bug guy, you're supposed to tip your bug guy?
I don't know.
My dog patrol, I have this dog service that comes and they walk my yard. They're really diligent and really good. Very personable people. But do I tip them? I don't.
Dog walkers you would tip though, right?
Would I?
I don't know. I don't have anybody walk my dog. He's too
walking my dog is an adventure.
I would probably tip him just because my dog's such an asshole, but
you don't even know. You don't even know.
Well, Pete, who are we tipping? Are we tipping everybody? Are we just gonna? I think that's what's gonna happen, right? Are we giving in?
I like the idea of tipping. I always like, in movies, and especially when I grew up, Godfather, athletes, players, people who are balling and out there like trying to make life work and doing their best. They're always known for, and they always tipping everybody, and everybody they meet there. So I try to live up to that standard.
I've in LA, I waited on and served a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes. Not all of them ball that way. Let me tell you. But yeah, it feels good. I think it feels good if you have the money. But if it's crushing you, and you're like, I'm giving everything. I mean, if you have the money, yeah, that's the problem. That there's so many people with money that, like I said, that I've waited on that I know they have a lot of zeros at the end of their bank account numbers, and they're cheap.
Yeah, I get everything. I get a lot of people in tattooing that don't tip. I don't know what percentage of people that I would say, and my form of tattooing where I'm doing large body pieces and kind of more epic scale, it's a little different as well than than your average tattoo studio.
Do you feel that the ones who do tip well, and the ones that don't tip they don't tip?
Yeah, I think it is. There are just two types. It's really cut and dry. I don't necessarily think all the people who don't tip me are bad people, or
Do you expect it?
I don't even know that I remember who they are. Because no, I don't expect to get tipped.
But you like it when you do.
Early on in the 90s, I got tipped, but it was more like you got $20, or more like a bartender got tipped back then. If you ordered $5 drinks, you still got $2 or something.
$1 a drink, $2 a drink. Yeah.
Yeah, there was just this math that was known.
That's why I always liked working. Like I worked at high-end restaurants. I worked at nightclubs. I worked at dive bars, and the dive bars to me were always my favorite because, people. I do this labor-intensive cocktail at a fancy restaurant, put it across the bar, and I'm still getting $1. That $15 at the time, maybe a $12 drink, which was high then. That $12 cocktail, and I'm getting $1. At the dive bar, I'm pouring a beer, pouring a shot. I'm still getting $1. So,
yeah, I say I'd rather err on the side of being the person who's just goodwill and tips people and spreads good cheer. I think in life, tipping or not tipping, I'd rather be the guy that makes everybody's day and tips whenever it is possible, and hope that, it's always possible. It's to do it well. I'd rather be that guy, is what I'm saying. Like, I think
do people tip their
that's putting more joy into the world.
Do people tip their drug dealers? You do go to the dispensary, right? You got to tip them.
I
tip the dispensary.
Tip,
the weed tender.
Yeah,
the bud tender. Is that what
I
they
tip
have?
them well, actually, because I do. I just want to have a good time. Like, be good, make some jokes, laugh at mine. Here's $5 when I'm.
But not. Yeah. Now, I think we did another episode of the assisted suicide. Are you tipping the assisted suicide people that help you end your life?
In my will, put 10%.
Put 10%.
Wait, no, 20%. I don't want you to think I'm cheap in my afterlife. So you got to tip a bigger number. I think 20% safe.
So I think we're tipping everybody, no matter what. We're done.
If you can, why not? But let's not be too peddly, because at the liquor store, I don't feel like tipping for my licorice that I don't even buy. But you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. All right.
So we're tipping everybody except the licorice guy.
Yeah.
Pete.
Middle-minded.
Another middle-minded.